Minnesota. I'm Holly Saunders with some good news for Bears fans. All-Pro cards, Kyle Long and Josh Sidden are back in the lineup today, as are Eddie Goldman and Eddie Royal, but the Bucs still feeling a little bit banged up. They're missing two of their starters today, Joe Holly and Kevin Pamfield. But the bright spot for the Tampa offense is the fact that Doug Martin will return today. He's been sidelined with a hamstring injury for 8 weeks. He'll be back today. I spoke with him just moments ago. He said, Holly, I'm feeling 90%. I'm just looking to get back out there with those guys and get a win at home today, Dan.
Holly Saunders, thank you very much. Kicking off for the Buccaneers, their rookie kicker, Roberto Aguayo. The highest drafted kicker since Sebastian Janikowski. Deontay Thompson back to receive, and he will take a knee. So in comes Jay Cutler and this Bears offense. Jay Cutler, a perfect 3-0 with Chicago against the Bucs. 4-0 in his career, also beat him when he was with the Broncos.
They're coming into this game, like I said, with a lot of confidence. They were 50% on third down up against the Minnesota Vikings. Jay was able to improvise and do some things because of the pressure he had with the offensive line that had second group in. Now he has his two guards in there. They are at full strength. They feel that this is going to be their day to show what this offense is all about.
A very confident Bears team, and they hand it off. Gained 3 or 4 yards up the middle. Robert Ayers on the tackle for the Bucs. Speaking of the Bears, the monsters of the Midway, are they back? This defense looking better.
They physically dominated the Vikings. They sacked Sam Bradford 5 times and hit him on the ground at 9 times. If you think about this game, they feel that they can do the same up against a hurt offensive line for the Bucs.
A lot of young talent on both sides of the ball, and obviously a big second half of the season for Jay Cutler and Alshon Jeffrey. This time on the play action, Cutler complete over the middle to Jeffrey at the 45.
Right away going to his target. That is something that Alshon Jeffrey spoke about, his ability to get open, and more than anything, having Jay Cutler, who is on the same exact page, because when Brian Hoyer and the other quarterbacks were in there, Alshon Jeffrey was only averaging 5 catches for 64 yards.
Yeah, Jeffrey basically twice as good when Jay Cutler's his quarterback.
Anytime that you give him separation at the line of scrimmage and you don't jam him or reroute him, he is a precise route runner and finds holes in defenses.
1st and 10 to give to Howard. Howard trying to squeeze 3 or 4 yards out of that run. We were talking about the young fellas, and certainly Jordan Howard is one of those guys. The rookie out of Indiana via UAB is the 2nd leading rookie rusher in the league this year.
The minute he got his opportunity to start, when Jeremy Langford went out with an injury to his ankle, he didn't look back. He's had 300-yard rushing games. He's had over 150 yards of scrimmage like he had up against the Vikings. Their ground attack is what they're going to start with. And Dow Longins, the offensive coordinator, knows those play-action shots will open.
2nd and 7 for Cutler and the Bears. Cutler flushed out of the pocket, finds Jeffrey again, and he holds on to it for the 1st down.
Any of those contested footballs, Alshon Jeffrey uses his big frame and always wins those contested catches. This is somebody that he's very familiar with. He went up against Chris Conte, the former Bear in practice, and on that one he got the best of Chris Conte. Well,
we focus a lot on this being a big second half for Cutler, but it also is for Jeffrey, who is their franchise player this year. Big price tag, $14.5 million for Alshon Jeffrey. They're going to have to make a decision on him. When he's healthy, one of the best wide receivers in the game. Here's Howard trying to find some room. He picks up 3. Darryl Smith on the tackle for the Bucs, the oldest member of the Buccaneers.
Right away, it looks like this offense is going right to the game plan that they had with Minnesota. Get the run game early, try to keep this defense off balance, and we'll see if they start mixing in pistol and play-action shots to Jeffrey down the field.
They wanted to score on this first drive to put a stamp on this game early. Scoring is something they haven't done a whole lot of this year. The Bears offense ranks 31st in the NFL, averaging 16.4 points per game. Cutler out of the shotgun, incomplete. He's looking for Bellamy. So that Bears offense that's ranked 31st is going up against the Bucs defense that has allowed opposing quarterbacks a passer rating of over 100. Translation deal, that ain't good.
No, it is not. This is a defense that gave up 820 yards in the air the last 2 games, and the Bears are hoping that they can take full advantage of it with the breakdowns and the vanilla coverages that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have had.
3rd and 7 for Cutler. Big play here. Cutler incomplete. Looking for his versatile tight end, Zach Miller.
Zach Miller leads the team in catches, and he went right after him. Bradley McDougald was on defense, had tight coverage, and was able to come up with a key stop for them. Let's see now how the Tampa Bay Bucs offense can respond to this, because they have been slow to start, and Jameis Winston only has 1 touchdown in the first quarter of games.
Big stop for the Buccaneers defense there. Adam Humphries back to return. You can see him shielding his eyes there. The sun's certainly an issue this time of day. The ball will be down at the 10-yard line. So it is Jameis Winston and that Buccaneer offense trying to get on the board early here in Tampa.
Game is sponsored by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency.
Welcome back to Tampa. Jameis Winston and this Tampa Bay offense on the field for the first time today. You can see Jameis in his last 4 games playing pretty well, David Deal. The handoff to a guy we have not seen in a long time. That is Doug Martin. He has not played in a game in 8 weeks, 2 months off. Doug Martin, not even a full participant in practice this week.
No, he wasn't, but they needed him on the offensive side of the ball after they've had 4 starters at the running back position. This defense, they thought the change of going from Lovie Smith, Tampa 2, now to Mike Smith would make the change. It has not, and it looks like the same defense. And they are 0-4 at home this year. They need to get this home win, so they don't need to go a month to start to get back to 500.
Jameis with time dumps it off to his tight end, and that's going to be just short of the first down. That was Brandon Myers.
Great coverage by the Chicago Bears, and the one thing that they talked about, don't be scared to break it down. You see Tracy Porter right away, one-on-one with Mike Evans. We've seen him shadow one-on-one receivers like Des Bryant and Jordy Nelson. Jameis Winston has no place to go with it, is smart, dumps it off to make sure that they stay ahead and keep themselves in a 3rd and manageable where they are right now.
Yeah, 3rd and short, 3rd and 2 to be exact. You're probably going to see a lot of Tracy Porter on Mike Evans today. Jameis tosses it outside to Martin. Martin stops short of the first down. This Bears defense, which played so well and is so much healthier than they have been. Jarrell Freeman on the tackle for the Bears, and you can see Willie Young in there as well.
They tried going with the toss, edging it on the outside, but right away you see Willie Young one-on-one up against the tight end. That is not a matchup. He puts Luke Stocker right into Doug Martin, and they have absolutely nowhere to go. A huge stop for the Chicago Bears, who had 4 3-and-outs in the first half last week up against the Minnesota Vikings.
Brian Anger on the punt for the Buccaneers. His first season in Tampa after spending 3 in Jacksonville. And Eddie Royal is back deep for the Bears, a dangerous return man who is back from injury. He is somebody that they can use on offense as well as on special teams. Royal calling for the fair catch at the 39-yard line. It's going to be drive number 2 with no score. Jake Cutler and that Bears offense back out on the field.
Today's game is sponsored by Bud Light. Make the right call. Drink responsibly.
What a view. Welcome back to Tampa. No score, 9:17 to go in the first quarter. Jake Cutler and the Bears offense on the field for their 2nd drive of the game. And they wanted to get on the scoreboard early. This is perhaps the most confident 2-16 that I've ever spoken with.
No doubt, and they feel that they are primed to have their best game because they are full health offensively and defensively.
Well, this is one of the reasons why Jordan Howard breaks a tackle, runs over another man, and that is a big gain, 15 yards for the first down for the Bears. Trucked Bradley McDougald.
Nice pull and kick out by the tight end, Zach Miller. You see him set the edge. He blocks the force player. Once again, you see a north and south runner who is an every down back in Jordan Howard, and his ability to open things up and get those yards after contact. That's why they're averaging 6 yards a play on first down.
Ooh, taken down in the backfield very, very quickly. Clinton McDonald, one of the men there.
Clinton McDonald was one of the underrated players on that Seattle defense. You see him a penetrator. He gets upfield, gets that hit, and what do they have to do before you go out on a screen? You have to make sure that you redirect your defensive tackle and do not let him get that hit.
McDonald back after missing 4 games with a hamstring pull. He was an important member of that Seahawks Super Bowl championship team, as you mentioned, David Deal. 2nd and 15 for Cutler. 3 seconds to go on the play clock. They get the snap off. Cutler over the middle, his 3rd completion to Alshon Jeffrey. This is a guy that's big, strong, and physical. He got hurt last year, only played about half the season, but the connection that they have is as good as any in the league.
It really is, and anybody is more than excited for having Jay Cutler back on this Bears side of the ball because they know what dimension he brings. He brings schematically things that you couldn't do with Brian Hoyer, and Alshon Jeffrey was not getting the attention needed from Hoyer. Hoyer had more of a connection to Bellamy and Meredith.
Yeah, Hoyer and Cutler, of course, an interesting storyline that was talked about a lot in Chicago. Here's Cutler, picked off at the 30. That's Brent Grimes. Just as they got a little momentum, this Buccaneers defense that has struggled so mightily with the huge play courtesy of Grimes.
Brent Grimes, who he's talked to about being outside, but he doesn't care about being oversized. He feels that he can play with any big receiver in the NFL.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Cadillac. By Burger King. Now get 3 large pancakes for only 89 cents, only at Burger King. And by PlayStation.
Welcome back to Tampa after a Brent Grimes interception. The Bucs take over, 1st and 10 at the 29. Grimes' 2nd interception of the season, the 3rd pick for Jay Cutler. So Jameis Winston and this Bucs offense going to work.
Hey, make it 50, Brown.
Yeah.
Sunday.
3 receivers to the left for Winston. He goes to the right side. That's Humphries. Close to the first down. Let's take another look at that interception. What happened here, David?
See, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are playing press man. Brent Grimes basically runs the route for Jeffrey. That's a product of film study and being a confident veteran. And Jay Cutler eyed Jeffrey down immediately, and it was an easy pick for Brent Grimes.
So they do indeed get the first down at the 41. The give to Martin. Martin trying to turn the corner. He's taken down after a gain of 2. Willie Young, one of the first guys there. Doug Martin, after missing 8 weeks. This is a guy that ran for over 1,400 yards last year.
Not to mention, he led the NFL with 650 yards after contact last season. He makes this offensive line better because of that. He takes the pressure off of Winston. But Mike Evans, if they can get this run game going, they're going to have to play safeties down lower.
Martin again on 2nd and 5, stuffed at the line of scrimmage. We've been talking about these running backs. It really has been a shuffling of the deck for these guys. Here's Doug Martin. He starts weeks 1 and 2. Charles Sims, 3 and 4. Then 5, 7, and 8. Jacquizz Rodgers, now the leading rusher on the team. Then Peyton Barber starts last week. 4 different starting running backs for these guys.
And what does that do? It definitely hurts the flow of what you can do offensively because each of these running backs brings a different dimension.
Evan Smith down on the field. He got the start at center. We're back in Tampa in a moment. That's Evan Smith, who got the start at center today for the injured Joe Howley. already thin on the offensive line. They now have a backup center, third stringer in the game, Ben Gottschalk, who was just called up from the practice squad to go along with Caleb Beninock, who was recently called up from the practice squad, seeing his first NFL action. So backups up the middle here of this offensive line for the Bucs. Pass batted down at the line of scrimmage. That's Leonard Floyd getting that big old mid up, and the ball's on the ground. A deflection there by Floyd, so shouldn't be a fumble. Looked like that hand was going forward.
It looked like the hand was going forward. He had the protection that he needed, but Leonard Floyd, which is a matchup we're going to have to see going up against Donovan Smith, knew he couldn't get there with the rush, got his eyes through the passing lane, and was able to come up with a pass defense.
Leonard Floyd, the rookie out of Georgia, making a lot of plays as of late for this Chicago defense.
He's had 3 sacks in the last 2 games, and he had a touchdown in Green Bay with the forced fumble recovery. He is playing now to his potential. Now, since he's getting his second reps of backup moves, bull to spin, speed to power, this is where you're going to really see him emerge stronger.
Eddie Royal calling for the fair catch right at the 20. Tuesday night college basketball action returns to FS1 with a Big Ten Big East showdown at the Gavitt tip-off game, starting with Maryland taking on Georgetown, then Nigel Hayes in Wisconsin collide with Maurice Watson Jr. and Creighton. It all gets going Tuesday at 6:30 Eastern on FS1. A huge rivalry game in the Washington, D.C. area. Georgetown and Maryland meeting in the second, for just the second time in more than 20 years in the D.C. area. Looking forward to that. Jordan Howard back in the game at running back for the Bears, as no damage done following a Jake Cutler interception.
180! 180!
Cutler with the pressure and picked off again. My goodness, Cutler with 2 interceptions in a row, and it's the former Bear Chris Conti.
Right, you get Zach Miller, who is going to run the submarine. He's going to go across. So Zach Miller here is going to run the submarine route to the backside of a bootleg naked. Sure enough, Chris Conti was able to again play inside leverage, cover it, make a break on the ball, and come away with another key interception for this Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense that has been scorched the last 2 games. But did it matter in this game? Absolutely not, because they're coming up with the plays that they need to provide this offense to spark, but more than anything, more opportunities to put points on the board for Jameis Winston.
Second interception of the game for Cutler. Perhaps nobody wanted this win more than Chris Conti, his second year in Tampa. Started his career with the Bears. The secondary has been struggling mightily. And Conti scores the first touchdown of the game. 1,084 yards that defense has given up. And all they wanted to do when we spoke with them was to look forward, and look forward they are. Now up 7-0 as Aguayo puts the extra point through. Everybody's pumped up here in Tampa, as long as they're not a visiting Bears fan right now. Chris Conti with his first interception of the season. Just a huge play for this Tampa Bay Buccaneer team. His first career interception return for a touchdown puts the Bucs on top 7-0. Jay Cutler, we're not even through the first quarter yet, already 2 interceptions in the game.
Well, if you look past that Minnesota Vikings game, you think about his start to this season. 3 fumbles and 2 interceptions in the first 7 quarters of the games.
Short kick fielded at the 15. Deontay Thompson met at the 35-yard line. Let's take one more look at this interception, David.
Once again, the submarine route, he's going to go across the grain. This is something where Jay Cutler, even though he's throwing off balance, you know you need to throw that ball to the boundary to where only Zach Miller can get it. Look at Evan Smith. Even though he's walking off injured, he loves celebrating and is excited for Conti to get that touchdown as well.
That Cutler pass intended for Logan Paulson who only has 3 catches on the year. Cutler gives to Howard. Howard has some room close to the first down and picks it up.
Another nice, tough run by Howard. You're going to see him take it and run the inside zone. Even though there's a little pressure on the outside, still has that vision to see that he can cut that ball back and put his foot in the ground and go north and south.
Boy, is he a tough runner.
He really is. You could see the lower body strength that he has in his legs and in his quads, and he runs very, very physical and tough.
First and 10 at the 49, 13-yard gain for Howard. They give it to him again. More room right up the gut. That's good for 12 or 13. Time for a game break now. Let's send it over to Carissa Thompson.
Thanks, Dan. Atlanta at Philly. Eagles' first drive of the game, and a Ryan Matthews 4-yard touchdown. That's his 6th of the season. Eagles up early, 7-0. Dan, David, and Holly.
Thank you very much, Carissa.
When I watched film this season of Jordan Howard, even though he's taller, he reminded me of Ahmad Bradshaw with his running style, that toughness, that demeanor, that he doesn't care who is in his way. He will try running you over.
2 straight 13-yard runs for the rookie out of Indiana. Give it to him again. Why not? This time stopped at the line of scrimmage. No gain for Jordan Howard. This guy has been just a pleasant surprise. Started his college football career at UAB. Then they got rid of the football program. So he transferred to Indiana, where he had over 1,000 yards. First team all Big Ten running back. Of course, Bloomington not too far away from Chicago, and the Bears take him in the 5th round. They're riding the workhorse on 2nd and 10. Howard goes for 2. William Golston in on the tackle for Tampa.
This is where you see this offense thrive now that they're getting the running game going and they have Howard going, getting the yards after contact. They need to convert on this 3rd down to take back momentum and control the pace of this football game.
3rd and 8. Jeremy Langford now in the backfield for the Bears. Cutler pressured, looking over the middle, incomplete.
He tries getting it to Eddie Royal out of the trips look at the top. You're going to see the low man right here. Eddie Royal is going to play inside. He's going to be one-on-one up against Bradley McDougald. He's able to make a nice move on my mistake. That was Jude Aje-Barima on the coverage, but he was able to make a big play. You see that he was unable to catch it, but they were very excited because they thought Eddie Royal, who is only the true slot receiver on this offense, would be able to bring that to this team and add that dimension.
Connor Barth from 54 yards out just sneaks it over the crossbar, so they get something out of that drive. Big kick from Connor Barth, who spent 5 seasons in Tampa. We released when they drafted Roberto Aguayo. Small screen, stadium-sized content. Watch live local Sunday games on your smartphone with NFL Mobile. What do you know? A lot of people on their smartphone here in Tampa. 7-3 the score here with 2:42 to go in the first quarter. Interesting that an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty was applied after the Brent Grimes pick 6. Perhaps they wouldn't have been in field goal range had the penalty not been assessed. A 54-yard field goal for Connor Barth makes it a 7-3 ball game. Ryan Smith back deep to receive the kick. 8 yards deep in the end zone. He wisely decides to take a knee. So a 7-3 ball game here right now. We've seen a lot of Jordan Howard. We've also seen more interceptions than Jay Cutler would have liked.
We sure have, and this was the big question we had. Were the Chicago Bears going to lose the momentum from the Vikings game heading off of this bye into this game? And certainly they have. The offense is not playing as sharp as they did in that football game. And Jay Cutler, who is playing for his future, is going back to his old form of throwing interceptions and not putting the ball where he needs to put it.
Yeah, meanwhile, Jameis Winston getting pressured. There's a flag on the play, and couldn't tell if Jameis was talking to the defender or just trying to help him up there. Waiting to hear from Walt Coleman.
Illegal use of hands in the face, number 76. Offense, 10-yard penalty, still first down.
Penalties on Donovan Smith.
Left tackle out here going one-on-one up against Willie Young. This is a matchup that we're going to have to watch this entire game. We're going to see this matchup. That was Leonard Floyd. Willie Young is in that rotation as well. But Leonard Floyd is really coming into his own. Missed a lot of practice due to the injury that he sustained. And now he is really playing to his potential, and why the Bears moved up to take him at number 9.
11 penalties last week for the Bucs. They certainly need to clean that up. Peyton Barber, their starter last week, gets the ball here. 3 yards for Barber.
Great story about Peyton Barber leaving college early so that he can take care of his mom, who was struggling financially, and get her a place, which he did with his first check that he got from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Certainly a roller coaster ride for that young man, undrafted after a 1,000-yard season at Auburn. Started the season on the practice squad. All of a sudden, he's the starting running back for a week here in Tampa. Doug Martin, of course, back this week getting the start. 2nd and 16. Looking over the middle, and he finds Mike Evans, but there's laundry on the field.
Coming back, DeMar Dotson, the right tackle, holding call on Pernell McPhee.
Holding, number 69, offense, half the distance to the goal, still second down.
See the matchup one-on-one. Here out on the outside, Pernell McPhee coming back healthy, just goes with the outside rip. You see the arms go around, feet get beat. Easy call by the official.
Pernell McPhee said he wanted to make the first big play of the game because he'd get everybody crunk. He'd get them all jacked up, is what he said.
He was definitely excited about this game and feels that this defensive line can physically dominate.
2nd and 26 for Jameis. Steps up in the pocket, off the hands of the receiver, and it's picked off by the Bears. Harold Jones-Corte.
Adam Humphries has had a connection with Jameis Winston because he's practiced so much when Jameis Winston wasn't the starter. But you see, one-on-one on the outside, going back at it, throws the ball tip up, pick, interception. And they're looking to see if he was down by contact right now.
Off the hands of Cecil Shorts into the waiting arms of Jones-Corte. 2nd year out of Division II Findlay. Interesting story. He's
The previous play will be reviewed.
in his 2nd season as they're reviewing the play. He moved to the U.S. from Ghana when he was 9. Jones-Corte says Steve Smith, when he moved to the States, became his favorite player. Our rules analyst Mike Pereira with us now. Mike, what are you seeing?
Yeah, it's a quick stop here. It's going to be ruled an interception and then down by contact. He got possession of the ball, and then he came in contact with the offensive player. So our assumption here as we watch it on our officiating command center is that they'll uphold the interception and put him down at that spot.
Mike Pereira assumes, and he is correct 100% of the time, the best in the business. Thank you, Mike.
You got him.
So big play by this Bears defense. They talked about that pressure off the edge. You could see that pressure coming, and perhaps that was in the back of Jameis's mind as you saw him climb the pocket a bit before he threw that ball.
And that was something that we saw in practice that they were trying to simulate on Friday, that pressure package, making Winston be able to step up into the pocket, plant his feet, and deliver the ball accurately.
Walt Coleman, the referee.
After reviewing the play, the interceptor did catch the ball but was touched down on the back with a foot. So the runner is down by contact at the 24-yard line. First down. Please reset the clock to 1:28.
Thank you, Walt. Big break for the Bears, courtesy of Jones Corte. And they are in glorious field position on the 24-yard line here with 1:28 to go in the first quarter. They have an opportunity to take the lead.
They most certainly do, and if you really look at it, the way the Bears are defense, they've carried over from Minnesota. The Bears running back, Jordan Howard has. The only one who really hasn't is Jay Cutler.
And Cutler played so well in his first game back against Minnesota. Here's Howard picking up a couple. John Fox and his team well rested coming off that bye week. They have 13 days to get ready for this game. He gave his team the entire bye week off.
And he said we're whole coming into this football game, which is huge considering the fact that at 2-6, they feel that this game can really turn things around for their season.
2nd and 9 for Cutler. Cutler lets it go one more time. It's Alshon Jeffrey. The connection between those two so good. Picks up 7. Levante David putting the pressure on Cutler as the clock winds down in the first quarter, and it looks like the Bears aren't going to be in a hurry.
Levante David is one of those players that has to emerge in this football game to make dynamic plays for their defense.
All right, that's the end of the first quarter. It is 7-3. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after the break from your local Fox station. Bucks up 7-3, but from a yardage standpoint, it's been all Chicago. 96 yards of total offense, and Alshon Jeffrey and Jordan Howard responsible for all of it.
That is not something that we expected, considering the fact they have Eddie Royal back into the lineup. And who is their leading receiver on offense? Zach Miller is yet to catch a ball.
Well, perhaps they could use him here as they are in the red zone. 3rd and 2 on the 16 for Cutler. Tosses it out to Howard. Howard picks up the first down, hurdles the defender down at the 5.
They go with the toss crack on the outside. They get the first puller in Miller, the second puller in Charles Leno Jr. Miller able to chop block, get Conti down, get up to the second level. That's one, though, as a running back where you have to use your vision, put your foot in the ground and go north and south. He ran right into that tackle.
That Bears offensive line, they got some help this week. Looking pretty good on that run. That's Chris Conti walking off the field.
Sitting back at left guard, who is their best offensive lineman and their best run blocker, and Kyle Long, who is their Bears' only player and offensive lineman to make a Pro Bowl throughout his first 3 seasons. But the player who has really impressed me is Cody Whitehair, the center, who was a left tackle at Kansas State. Right before the week 1, they moved him to center. He's athletic, he's smart, and more than anything, he has really grown as a football player, and they're putting more on his plate to make calls at the line of scrimmage.
Fullback Paul Lasike in the game. Play action for Cutler looking in the end zone. Trying to go to Jeffrey again.
One-on-one on the outside. Jeffrey takes it in. They switch it. Keith Tandy, he's open. You got to get that ball high and outside and let Elshon use his 6'3" frame up against Keith Tandy, who is only 5'10".
Hit Tandy right in the back.
Great move by Elshon to come back and make sure that he didn't come away with an interception.
Second and goal for the Bears. Cutler fakes the pitch, pitches it inside to his fullback. That's Paul Lasike. Undrafted out of BYU in 2015, just called up from the practice squad. So 3rd and 4 now. As Kyle Long is down on the field. That would be a huge hit for this Bears offensive line. They got Long and Sitton back. Finally healthy, finally whole.
Meeting with Kyle yesterday, he was very excited to get back out on the field and talked about how much of a struggle it is as a player sitting back and watching them go through. See him right here, the position on a double team. It's coming at the end. He gets rolled up right there by Lasike, his own player, by getting tackled. You see it's that right ankle. That's what it looks like to me. And as an offensive lineman, those high ankle sprains are one of the toughest things to come back from.
Sometimes a high ankle sprain can be worse than a break. Keeps you out longer.
Keeps you out longer.
Kyle Long down for the Bears. We'll be back in Tampa after this.
This game is sponsored by the all-new 2017 Ford Super Duty. This is the next level. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry.
Kyle Long leaving the field on a cart, never a good thing. They put an air cast on him. Looked like he got his leg rolled up on, and this is not a good sign for a team that just got everybody back on that offensive line, both of their Pro Bowl guards. And this is not only a leader on the field, but off the field for the Bears.
He has been, and just having him come back from injury like he has for this game, he talked about excited he was to get back out there to play and fight with his guys. And now what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to go to Ted Larson, who has filled in before at the guard position. When they played up against the Vikings, he was playing left guard, and Eric Kush was the right guard. Now he slides over to the right guard position.
He's banging the side of the cart on his way out, saying, let's get this. He said when he was injured, he saw the game through a different lens. It actually made him hungrier to get back out there on the field. He appreciated playing more.
As a competitor and as an athlete, there's nothing worse than watching when your team struggles. Here he is at right guard on a double team block with Massey up to the second level. But that right ankle right there is where he gets rolled up on.
How about that? Gerald McCoy coming up. Nothing but respect there.
Respect.
Langford beside Cutler. 3rd and goal for the Bears. Cutler flushed out of the pocket. Chase from behind. And the ball's on the ground, recovered by the Buccaneers.
Jay Cutler's 3rd turnover here in the first half. 2 interceptions, and you see the sack, strip force fumble. He's getting pressure. He's trying to elude the rush. You see him coming downhill, and Akeem Spence on the inside is the one who was able to jar that ball out.
Yeah, I think that was Noah Spence getting to him, the rookie from Eastern Kentucky, who's all Big Ten at Ohio State. They love his speed off the edge. Mike Smith actually told us he had the most juice of any of his edge rushers.
And that's his 3rd sack in the last 3 games.
Mike Pereira letting us know that that is indeed a fumble. And as you said, we are barely into the second quarter, already 3 turnovers for Jay Cutler. First and 10 at the 14. Doug Martin with some room. Martin over the 20. Adrian Amos on the tackle for the Bears, the hard-hitting safety. Doug Martin, as we take a look there at Chris Conte, he of course is the one that had the interception return for a touchdown. They're checking him out. 2nd and 2 for Doug Martin, and he's going nowhere. Yeah, it looks like Cutler's getting a little attention from the medical staff as well. Matt Barkley, the backup quarterback for Cutler, who is checking out his Microsoft Surface, trying to figure out exactly what went wrong. 3rd and 2 now. Looks like a false start on the right side of the line.
False start on the 69 offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
That's DeMar Dotson's 2nd penalty of the day. He had the holding call and now a false start. When you're in 3rd and 2, that is one of the worst things that you can do as an offensive lineman, especially at the tackle position. You love that you're in a 3rd and 2 position instead of 3rd and 7 when you have Pernell McPhee, Leonard Floyd, and Willie Young screaming off of the edges.
3rd and 7 for Jameis. Dumps it off over the middle, picks up the 1st down. That's Cameron Brate.
Once again, the Bears have nice coverage on Evans. You see Crevon LeBlanc on him.
Jameis Winston, so smart, bought some time, waited until he finally found one of the guys he calls his security blanket. That's Cameron Brate out of Harvard. Adam Humphries on the wide receiver around, not going to get much there. Maybe a yard for Humphries. Danny Trevathan in on the tackle for the Bears. Second and 8 on the 29. 3 wide receivers to Winston's right, an empty backfield. Throws a strike. Cecil Shorts hauls this one in for his biggest gain of the day. 22 yards on the Winston to Shorts connection.
Cecil Shorts on the inside here, running an inside breaking post, going one-on-one against Harold Jones. Corte makes a nice conversion for them to convert, get a 1st down, and to move the chains. But this is a place and in this drive where we need to see the identity of this Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense. It's been up and down. They've been trying to get the ball to the outsides in the running game, which hasn't been successful. Now they need to get the running game going.
Winston keeps it himself. Winston going to pick up the 1st down and then some. Unfortunately, might be coming back. It's
going to be another hold on DeMar Dotson.
That would be Dotson's 3rd penalty of the game.
Yeah.
Holding, number 69, offense. 10-yard penalty, still 1st down.
It almost looks like the same exact play. You see him one-on-one on the outside up against Pernell McPhee. Pernell McPhee is one of those power guys, so he goes to sit. Pernell McPhee goes with the outside rip. He gets his hands outside the framework and gets the takedown. 3rd penalty of the game, 2nd in this drive.
So now the Bucs facing 1st and 20. Nothing Dotson does is going to go unseen. He's the tallest member of the Buccaneers. 6'9". Hand off to Doug Martin. Picks his way through that Bears defense. Still going. 12 yards on the carry. Game break time. Carissa, what's going on?
Well, Dan, Kansas City at Carolina. The Panthers were up 3-0, and Cam Newton decides, well, you know what? I'll just take it myself. The dual threat runs it in himself. The Panthers up 10-0. Now, the Chiefs have won 16 of their last 18 games. We'll see how they respond here. Dan, David, and Holly.
Doug Martin churning, getting his run game going, getting that physical attributes of what he has, getting low and running through contact. He's going to need to do that all day.
7 carries for 25 yards so far from Martin. First play in Bears territory today for this Tampa Bay offense. Jameis dumps it off. That's Mike James. Their running back who a couple of years ago ran for 153 yards in a game, only to break his arm later. This is Massey walking off the field right now. Looks like he's going to be headed into the locker room. They're going to check him out. It's a right tackle for the Bears and that offensive line. That's already 2 guys who are out.
And then figure on the other side of the ball, Evan Smith, the center, is out as well. So a lot of injuries in this game. The more at the offensive line position.
3rd and 5. Jameis squeezes it in there for the first down. And that's great again.
See him right here on the inside of the trips look to the right. He's able to break free, and even with the hold that he gets on Adrian Amos, is able to break up and get a nice catch and a conversion for a first.
Heck of a throw by Jameis. Good for 14 yards and the first. Doug Martin back in the game for the Bucs. He gets the carry, puts his head down, picks up 4. Once again, there's a flag.
This time it's going to be on Luke Stocker.
Holding, number 88, offense, 10-yard penalty, still first down.
The Buccaneers are really struggling. This is something that they've always tried to do, is get the ball to the outside and test the edges. But on this one, this is one that's on Doug Martin. This is an attaboy. He tries bouncing the ball to the outside where there's nowhere to go. Stocker thinks that it's an inside zone. His feet get beat and he goes to hold on, and sure enough, gets the holding call.
A familiar position for the Bucs, facing 1st and 20 from the 40. Incomplete for Winston. Trying to dump it off to Martin. Now it's going to be 2nd and 20. Dirk Cutter, the offensive coordinator for the Bucs last season. In his first year as the head coach, one of the reasons they wanted to keep him here is because of his relationship with Jameis.
We thought that it would be the emergence of Jameis Winston starting off fast, but his first 4 games, 8 touchdowns to 8 interceptions.
That's Humphreys, who couldn't hold on. And you can see Jameis just looking at him. He told us he has a couple of security blankets. And Humphreys and Brate were the 2 that he relied on the most because he always knew where they were going to be.
He said that both of these players are very smart. They can, especially Humphreys, can play all the spots. He's the guy that opens things up for the other wide receivers. And more than anything, his continuity with him started when Winston was drafted in rookie minicamp.
3rd and 20, still on the 40. Feeling the pressure, that's Young, and finally Jameis is taken down. Leonard Floyd putting the pressure on.
DeMar Dotson is having a rough day on the outside. Willie Young gets him up, but sure enough, Akeem Hicks is the one that finishes it. Look at him pointing, talking. Talk about Monster than Midway's attitude. Here it is. Gets upfield, rips, finishes the play.
How often does that happen where a D lineman is talking smack to the quarterback?
You really don't see it too often, but in this one you most certainly do, because like we all heard, we've heard from this Bears defensive line, they felt that they can dominate and intimidate this offense.
Ball down at the 5. That Bears defense looking pretty good. Welcome back to Tampa. 7-3 ball game here. The Bears with just 3 points on the board so far. Jordan Howard, Alshon Jeffrey doing the yeoman's share of the work on offense. The big story here for Jay Cutler after that great game against the Vikings, 3 turnovers. So now they go to work here on their own 5-yard line. The handoff to Howard. Howard past the 10, past the 15, out to the 20-yard line.
Tough physical running on first down. Huge gain, but once you go back, it is his vision. He is still able to find holes, even going to the backside. That ball is supposed to go to the right. He sees a cutback lane, hits it immediately, and gets downhill. And you got to love this, watching this tough back run the way that he does as a rookie. With the experience that he's gaining, he is only continuing to get better and better.
Too high for Jeffrey. Howard, a downhill runner, already has 78 yards on the ground.
So we talked about, as a Chicago Bears unit, when Howard has 23+ rushing attempts, they're 2-0. When he doesn't, they are 0-5.
Howard didn't expect to be the starting running back coming into the season. That was supposed to be Jeremy Langford, but he missed 4 games with a high ankle sprain. He's back, he's healthy now, but the job is Howard's after 3 100-yard games this season, and he looks to be on his way to another. 2nd and 10, Howard again, more room for Howard. Howard to the 30, ball's loose. Was he down?
As a tough physical runner, you always talk about making sure you get the extra yard, but not at the cost of losing the football. We're looking to see if his knee was down. Ball came out before. It's a fumble.
That's a fumble. McDougald, the man who recovered it and returned it. Looks like Will Golston kind of punched it out.
Fourth Bears offensive turnover in the first half.
That makes it difficult to win ball games, David Deal.
It most certainly does. And what does it do? It's putting not only a bind on their offense, but it's putting a bind on their defense that is playing very tough in this football game.
Well, you just saw the numbers there from that Tampa Bay defense. That was the defense that was struggling coming into this game, and they have been stout. Prime field position, 1st and 10 on the 29 for Jameis. Martin smothered right at or just behind the line of scrimmage.
Luke Stocker is having a tough matchup. He's got Pernell McPhee on him, head up, and he's trying to set the edge to the outside, and he has had no luck at it all day.
Might have gotten away with a face mask here. Well, they got just a piece of that. Certainly could have been called.
Ready. Nobody. Look up.
Winston complete over the middle. That once again is Cameron Brate.
Cameron Brate is having career stats and catches and in receiving yards. Wind up at the tight end position. Gets open. You see Adrian Amos dropping back and Harold Jones-Quartet dropping back. They've got no pressure on Jameis Winston, and he's able to come up with another big first down.
16-yard gain for Brate. Here's Martin. Putting his head down, not much going there. 2nd and 8 after the 2-yard gain for Martin.
Now you're starting to see Doug Martin really emerge back to form of who he was last season. It started off a little bit slow, but you can tell now that he is in the flow of the football game, because I don't care what happens in practice, there's nothing you can do to simulate game speed.
Last 7 times in the red zone, they've scored a touchdown. That's the longest streak in the NFL. Jameis, of course, in his last 4 games, 9 touchdown passes, 1 interception. Strike. Jameis making Cameron Brate again. Turnovers just killing the Chicago Bears, 13-3. And it looked like Brate was wide open.
Once again, they're giving him so much cushion. They're all backing up and giving him a lot of space to operate, and giving Jameis Winston a lot of area to work. Cameron Brate, see him on the outside, motions into this position right here. And you see everyone backing up again. Adrian Amos giving him a lot of cushion. Jameis Winston identifies it right away and attacks.
Touchdown, kept a 4-play, 29-yard drive. Helps when you have great field position like that. Aguayo, the rookie kicker, on for the extra point. And that is good. 14-3 with 3:33 left. Jameis to his security blanket. Cameron Brate to put him up by 11.
This game is sponsored by KFC's new $10 chicken share, a bucket for 2. KFC is finger licking good.
Since the day he became the starting quarterback of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he has been the leader. And what better way to show that after a scoring drive, everybody coming off, getting everybody fired up and showing the emotions of who they are as a football team and who he is as a player.
If you saw the game last week, the pregame speech to the team, his eyes were like saucers. They are so wide. He is so into the game. Dirk Cutter called him a coach's dream as Deontay Thompson taken down at the 10-yard line. That's Josh Robinson on the tackle. Turnovers just killing the Bears. 4 turnovers in the game for the Bears. Both Bucs scores off turnovers. Jameis Winston greeting some soldiers before the game. Your Grateful Nation is a nonprofit corporation dedicated to the support of U.S. combat veterans and their families during and after their transition from the military to civilian life. The organization's initial focus is to serve exclusively the special operations community and associated personnel who have faced combat and high-risk missions. Our Fox Sports family, we're wearing the Grateful Nation pins today. First down on the 10-yard line for Jay Cutler and the Bears. Jordan Howard in the backfield after the fumble that led to a Buccaneers touchdown. Cutler with time. Cutler dumps it off. Wise decision by Cutler. Zach Miller's first catch of the day. Going to be good for about 4 yards. That's one thing they like about Cutler, is his ability to create in the pocket.
And we saw that in the game up against the Minnesota Vikings, be able to elude the rush. You see that there's great coverage by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's able to make some move with his feet and dump it down.
Howard on the carry, nothing going there. Holly Saunders on the sideline. Holly, what's going on?
Dan, just a few Bears injuries to update. I just received official word that Kyle Long, who was carted off the field earlier this quarter, will not return to the game. He has an ankle injury. Also, offensive lineman Bobby Massey walked off the field under his own power to the locker room. He's currently undergoing concussion protocol. Dan?
Thank you, Holly. 3rd and 5 now for Jay Cutler and company. Just over 2 minutes to go in the half. We're at the 2-minute warning. Jay Cutler facing 3rd and 5 for the Bears. lot of military personnel here in Tampa at the game. You can follow your favorite team all season long. Go to itunes.com/NFL. 3rd and 5 for the Chicago Bears. Down 14-3. Would love to get some momentum going into the locker room. Flag on the field. Cutler just drops the ball.
Ball start, number 17, offense. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
We just learned that right tackle Bobby Massey is going through concussion protocol. He will not return, so that's 2 starting offensive linemen gone for the Bears already.
And Mike Adams has filled in at his position at the right tackle spot.
3rd and 10, Jeremy Langford beside Jay Cutler in the Bears backfield. Cutler looking up top, but clearly some type of miscommunication there because Jeffrey didn't even know it was coming.
Not to mention Jay Cutler was under pressure and could not deliver it the way that he wanted it to. Jeffrey on the outside is running the fly. Gets open, but Jay Cutler cannot get him the football because of the pressure and the people at his feet. Gerald McCoy, you see him putting on the pressure. You see the inside tandem of the defensive line also. So when Jay Cutler can't step into a throw, it doesn't matter how strong his arm is.
So Pat O'Donnell on to punt for the Bears. Adam Humphries set to return for the Bucs. He calls for the early fair catch. Tomorrow night, National Geographic invites you to go to Mars. Join humankind's greatest adventure and find out how we made Mars home. The new series, Mars, premieres tomorrow night only on National Geographic. How cool does that look?
Unbelievable.
14-3 right now. Here's a look at the offensive leaders for the Buccaneers. Doug Martin, of course, back after 8 weeks off. 9 carries, 28 yards. Cameron Brate, very productive. And Jameis, just being Jameis, had that early interception, but he's rebounded nicely. Jameis again feeling the pressure, just gets rid of it. Let's check in for a game break with Carissa Thompson.
Thanks, Dan. Minnesota at Washington, all tied up. 5 seconds left in the first half inside the 5. Sam Bradford to Adam Thielen. After a missed extra point, Minnesota's up 20-14 at the half. Dan?
Thank you, Carissa. 2nd and 10 here in Tampa. An opportunity for Jameis Winston and this Buccaneer offense to put a couple more points on the board. Jameis once again finds Brate, and that will be a first down. Jameis again complete. Brate one more time. Working on a little tempo here of the Bucs.
He really is, and this is where you've really seen Jameis Winston throughout his career grow in these 2-minute drives, just controlling everything at the line of scrimmage and putting them in the best position to put points on the board before the end of the half.
Just over a minute on the clock. Jameis to Shorts. One more first down.
Going through his progression, spreading the football around. See the off coverage by Crevon LeBlanc, who's filling in at that position for Bryce Callahan.
Some young quarterbacks wait for the receiver to get open. Jameis threw him open there.
He most certainly did. He saw the off coverage, threw him open, and once again, 3 straight big plays for them offensively.
55 seconds to go in the half. Jameis hands it off to Mike James. Short gain there. Remember, Tampa won the coin toss. They deferred to the second half, so they're going to get the ball to start the second half. So if they can put some points up here, that's going to be huge.
They just called the timeout, stop the clock, have 2 more with 48 seconds left to go, and See, Dirk Cutter is going to give him a 2-play sequence. You start off with the first one that he's going to call in, and then there's another second one to get right to the line of scrimmage and roll.
Visa halftime show coming up. Panthers taking on the Chiefs. Texans, of course, looking for their first road win. And we are getting you ready for the Steelers and the Cowboys. That's going to be a good one for sure.
That is going to be a great football game to watch tonight. I think everybody's excited to watch Dak Prescott versus Ben Roethlisberger.
What Dak Prescott has done this year has been absolutely phenomenal. Kind of mirrors what Roethlisberger did his rookie season for a very good Steelers team. 2nd and 11 from Winston. Plenty of time to Humphries. Humphries down to the 12-yard line.
Gets the catch, gets out of bounds, stops the clock, and once again gives Jameis Winston another opportunity to manage things and put a touchdown on the board to get that feeling that they need to go up 21-3 at half and get the ball the second half.
The Bucs kind of got their mojo going early with the Conti pick 6. Then a touchdown to Brate, now facing 3rd and 5, trying to score one more time with 41 seconds to go here in the first half. Jameis feeling the pressure, and they're calling an incomplete pass. So the Bucs are going to bring out the field goal unit. Let's take another look at how this went down.
And that pressure is on the rookie left guard starting in his first game, Cravon.
That's Cornelius Washington.
Pushing Caleb Benenoch back right into the lap.
Just kind of got
Jameis Winston
right underneath his shoulder pads. Here's Roberto Aguayo. A really interesting story, because with one of their second-round picks, they made the decision to draft Aguayo, who was the most accurate kicker in NCAA history at Florida State, but he's had a couple of misses this year and certainly felt the pressure. He's the highest drafted kicker since Sebastian Janikowski. This one from 30 yards out is good. So 17-3 after the Aguayo field goal. And this is a game where the story has been turnovers.
It really has. We were talking about the Bears being able to have that momentum, especially Jay Cutler coming into this football game where they were able to control everything, but more than anything, control the football. 4 turnovers in this game and to start the first half. They've given the Tampa Bay Buccaneers every opportunity to take over like they have.
Both touchdowns in this game for Tampa off of turnovers. 3 of those turnovers from Jay Cutler, 2 interceptions and a fumble. Then, of course, the Jordan Howard fumble. So the Bears have some cleaning up to do in the locker room here. There's 31 seconds left on the clock. They would love to get something, anything on the scoreboard, whether it's a field goal or a touchdown. Thompson out to the 16, 26 seconds left for the Bears. Hey, Kurt Menefee, what are we going to see coming up at the Visa Halftime Report?
Coming up on the Visa Halftime, the Chiefs try to make it 5 wins in a row as they take on Cam and the Carolina Panthers. The Texans look to stay atop the AFC South. We'll also preview that big Dallas and Pittsburgh contest. So make sure you come back and join me and the guys on the Visa Halftime.
A very studious crew there as they are watching what's going down around the National Football League. Looking forward to the Visa Halftime Report. You can see here for the Bears, their first game with 4 turnovers in a long time, and we're not even to halftime yet. They're going to play it safe here. It looks like, and just run out the clock. Jeremy Langford on the carry for the Bears, taken down by Chris Conti. 13 yards for Langford. So, Jay Cutler struggling very early in this game. Picked off early by Brent Grimes.
Bad throw to Paulson on the bootleg.
One of those turned into a touchdown, and then that's the rookie Noah Spence forcing the fumble. And then, of course, Jordan Howard puts it on the ground. Howard's had a great game until that point.
And they're going to have to lean on him here in the second half as well in order to get back on track, start to control the time of possession, and not have the turnovers like they have in the first half.
John Fox's Bears on the 31-yard line. 19 seconds left in the half. Cutler's going to pass. Finds Langford. That's going to be well short of the first down. There's 12 ticks to go. Langford taken down by Quan Alexander, who has been such a good player on that defense. Their leading tackler this year from the middle linebacker spot. John Fox not getting the start that he wanted to in this game, that is for sure.
No, he is not. This isn't the start that they expected to have, and this is not the start that they said they've worked off a bye to have. They felt that this was really going to be the turning point for their football season, and it would get them back on track. And unfortunately, right now in the first half, it is not. It is so difficult to overcome 4 turnovers.
They get 2 Pro Bowl linemen back for this game. Lost one of them in addition to Bobby Massey. Cutler again dumping it off to Kadeem Carey. Carey picks up the first down and gets out of bounds with 5 seconds left. 16-yard pickup for Carey. Carey actually had 2 touchdowns against the Bucs the last time they played down here.
Yes, he did, and that's something that Kyle Long talked about coming into this season. You know, he's a player who blocked all the time for Matt Forte, and he said, we have an array of backs that could be starters on each and every football team in the NFL. So now having them back at full strength, Howard taking over as a starter, and now having a mix-up of Kadeem Carey and Jeremy Langford, what more could you ask for out of a backfield?
They have the ingredients right now.
Team timeout. Tampa Bay, 30-second timeout.
Let's take a look at how these 2 quarterbacks have been performing so far today. Jameis Winston, 12 of 18 for 137 yards. He did have that 1 pick, but also has a touchdown pass. Cutler just a 50% completion percentage right now. And, of course, those 2 interceptions and the fumble.
3 turnovers that he's had in the first half are what we saw in the first 7 quarters of Jay Cutler this football season. He had 2 fumbles, 3 interceptions, and it's carried over into this one. And unfortunately for the Bears defense, who started this game playing very tough, they've been out on the field a very long time.
You take a shot here, David, and you play safe.
For this Bears team, if it's Jay Cutler, you know they're going to try to take a shot.
And here he is eluding the pressure, and you are exactly right. Chucking it up into the end zone, and it's caught for the touchdown. Holy cow, Cameron Meredith. And that's why you have to take a chance, David Beal.
Yes, it is. Cameron Meredith has stepped in when White got injured and went on IR for the 2nd year, and he's really emerging and stepping up as a football player. Big target, 6'3", is getting better each and every week, and you see him in the back of the end zone.
A 50-yard heave from Jay Cutler.
See him running the flies, everybody getting into the end zone, and what do you talk about as a defensive back? Knock it down, that ball gets tipped up into the air, falls right into Meredith for the touchdown before the half.
You could see Conti trying to knock it down. That's the old tip drill that they work on all the time in practice.
All the time in practice, you see this done, and he can't knock it down. Ball falls right into his lap. Touchdown. So did they need to take a shot, Dan Howley? Absolutely.
Good call by you, my friend. Cameron Meredith, the former quarterback in college at Illinois State, moved to wide receiver his final year, and he has been a nice addition to this Bears receiving corps. Wow, talk about a turn of the tide. They were down, and now they've just scored going into the locker room. They've chipped away at that lead. Just a 7-point ball game after the extra point is good. That's the end of the first half. What a way to end it. 17-10 here in Tampa. Let's go to Kurt Menefee in Los Angeles for the Visa halftime show starting right now. Today's excitement brought to you by the new Nissan Titan. Cutler with the pressure and picked off again. My goodness. Cutler with 2 interceptions in a row. Strike. Jameis making Cameron Brate again. And that was today's excitement brought to you by the new Nissan Titan. It is 17-10 here in Tampa. The Bucs on top of the Bears. And it could have been a lot worse, David Deal, if it weren't for that Hail Mary from Jay Cutler at the end of the half, which you called.
It puts them within a touchdown. And for the Bears offensively, obviously they can't have the turnovers like they did, and they have to rely on the ground game of Jordan Howard. And on the defensive side of the ball, for a group that had 5 sacks up against Sam Bradford, they only have 1 here in the first half up against an offensive line with 2 starters playing in their first game today, one at center and the other one at left guard with the injuries for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense. Get Doug Martin rolling, get him playing into this so that you can continue to push the ball to get Mike Evans involved in this football game. And defensively, get ready for the Bears offense because you know that they're going to come out aggressive.
And we are underway here in the second half. Ryan Smith returning the kick. Holly Saunders down on the sideline. Holly?
Thanks, Dan. Had a chance to talk to Coach Cutter on the way out of the locker room, and he said that in the locker room, he stressed momentum, not to allow one play to erase an excellent first half by his guys. Wanted his guys to remember that. You played excellent. Keep it up. He also said the pass rush was the key to the 4 turnovers. He loved that. Also, Coach Fox, I expected him to maybe have a smile on his face heading into the locker room. He did not. He said 4 turnovers. That's the first thing. He ignored my question. He said 4 turnovers. I need to talk to those guys. I said, what do you need to say, Coach? He said, I need to talk to those guys. So I think his demeanor says it all.
All right, Holly Saunders down on the sideline. Thank you very much. 1st and 10 on the 23. The give to Doug Martin. He is met by a slew of Bears at the line of scrimmage. Jameis Winston, 1 touchdown pass, 1 interception in this one. Been very efficient as we have a Bear down on the field, very slow to get up, receiving medical attention right now. Looks like that's Will Sutton. 3 offensive linemen have already left the game because of injury, and now I have Will Sutton, who's been doing a lot of work at nose tackle for this Bears defensive line.
He has until this game when Eddie Goldman came back from injury that he had in the week 2, missed 6 straight. Now since he's back, Will Sutton went back to the backup position. Will Sutton was a force inside of there, but still made some mistakes at the nose position, playing outside of leverage and double teams being able to get up to the 2nd level.
Will Sutton on his feet. That's a good sign. And he's helped off the field. Let's take a look at what he got tangled up in there. See Sutton in on the tackle and then goes down awkwardly as he's hit in the back by one of his own players.
Same thing happened to Kyle Long. Bodies start piling up, and when you can't get your legs out of there, it's very difficult.
Just got rolled up on. Hopefully he's going to be fine. 2nd and 10 on the 23. John Fox needing an improved effort from his offense and his defense. Winston to the near sideline. That's Cecil Shorts. No catch. So 3rd and 10 now for this Buccaneer offense that's been efficient. They've done okay. You have Doug Martin, who's back from that long layoff. Certainly not putting up spectacular numbers, but they just need to get him going.
Right now, you're looking, there's not really any emotion on this Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense coming out because they needed to start fast here. And right now, it doesn't look like they're doing it.
3rd and 10. Jameis pressured again, spins out of it. Jameis in his own end zone. Waiting for somebody to get open, looks deep down the field. Mike Evans. Incredible improvisation from Jameis Winston, being chased all over the place. Leonard Floyd was one of the guys there, David.
Well, it starts with the stunt. Cornelius Washington and Leonard Floyd run a tackle and twist. And Jameis Winston still being able to elude a rush and is going back and forth, keep his eyes downfield. And that's back-to-back catches in this game. The one right before half and this one that are plays that just make you scratch your head.
You know, Jameis not the most athletic guy, but he has the ability just to move around in the pocket. He's so smart as a quarterback. 39-yard gain there from Jameis Winston to Mike Evans.
Wow.
You're going to get a delay of game here. Waiting to find out what the flag is on the field as Dirk Cutter's trying to draw something up that works as well as that last play, although I don't think that's what he drew up.
No, that is not what he draws up for an offensive scheme and for a protection to break down the way that it did.
1st and 15 now for the Buccaneers. Jameis with a clean pocket and a wide open wide receiver. That's going to be a touchdown. 43 yards to Freddie Martino. Man, it wasn't pretty, but somehow Jameis Winston and this Buccaneer offense got it done on this one.
They most certainly did. It wasn't pretty. It didn't start off fast, but look at how much that big play down the field opened up things, and Freddie Martino gets right behind Cre'Von LeBlanc and comes up with a touchdown.
Freddie Martino got his first career catch last week, coming up huge here with a 43-yard touchdown. Wide open.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable call, unbelievable throw and play by Jameis Winston.
Looked like Cre'Von LeBlanc was the man there. Extra point's good. 14-point ball game. What a wild ride this drive has been. First the long completion to Evans and then the touchdown pass to Martino. 24-10.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. By Microsoft Surface, the official tablet of the NFL. And by State Farm, here to help life go right.
This was Thursday night against the Falcons. John Lynch, the 9th member of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Ring of Honor. Played 11 seasons here in Tampa, from 93 to 2003. Of course, he was a very important member of that Super Bowl 37 team. Perhaps one day, this young man will find himself in the Ring of Honor. Touchdown pass to Freddie Martino. Puts the Bucs up 24-10. The kickoff from Aguayo through the end zone. So Jay Cutler and the Bears will take over at the 25. Here's Jameis after that long completion to Freddie Martino. Wide open, David.
Wide open, and you talk about needing a spark, and that big crazy play down the middle was the spark that they needed to open up things and get that confidence and momentum on a drive that started really flat for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
And I'm pretty sure Freddie Martino was playing the air guitar there. Not 100% positive, but I'm pretty sure. Here's Howard. Picks up 2. Bradley McDougald coming in from his safety spot to make the tackle. A look at the numbers here for the Bears. 3 turnovers, 2 of those interceptions for Jay Cutler. Jordan Howard with close to 100 yards, and Alshon Jeffrey 4 catches for 47 yards, as we have maybe the most important member of this defense on the ground. That's Gerald McCoy. Back after this. Looks like four-time Pro Bowler Gerald McCoy is just fine. He walked off the field on his own power, getting loosened up. Likely going to be back in the game in a matter of moments. In the meantime, it's 2nd and 8 for Jay Cutler. He's flanked by the rookie Jordan Howard. Fakes the handoff. Cutler with time. Incomplete.
Smart decision. Throwing it out of bounds, not forcing it. Live for 3rd down. He was looking for Meredith down the field, but Meredith was covered. He was initially looking for, trying to get it back to him at the sticks. Great coverage by Vernon Hargraves, the 1st-round draft pick.
Cutler looking it over on 3rd and 8. McCoy back in the game for that Buccaneer defense. And he is swarmed. Wouldn't you know it? One of the guys in there was Gerald McCoy. Quan Alexander says, "Well done, sir."
They're going to double mug with their linebackers to show the pressure on the inside, but then they're going to run the twist. They're going to get it around, get that pressure down the bow, and sure enough, Jay Cutler has absolutely nowhere to go, and the defense coming up with a big sack.
Beats Ted Larson, who's in the game because of injuries.
And Gerald McCoy going with the mannequin challenge.
Hearing the whistles as Pat O'Donnell
False start,
lines up the punt.
number 84, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
Another big stop for the Tampa Bay defense.
Can't say enough about the way they've played here so far. After giving up over 1,000 yards in 2 games, really tough schedule. They had 2 games in 5 days. Anxious to get back out on the field. As Humphreys fields the punt, he's down right at about the 40-yard line. Jameis and the Bucs are going to take over. Tomorrow night, National Geographic invites you to go to Mars. Join mankind's greatest adventure and find out how we made Mars home. The new series Mars premieres tomorrow night only on National Geographic. Deal, this guy could probably survive on Mars.
The Big Nasty. He is he is one of their most loyal fans, and I think we've all seen pictures of him with his big rhino hat on.
No doubt. How about that stat? Jameis, the youngest quarterback in NFL history to 40 touchdown passes. Rolling out again, a wide open Luke Stocker. Picks up 11. Nobody around him.
No, running that same going across the green submarine route with the bootleg action. Great play. See him here going against the grain. Jameis Winston makes the decision by Leonard Floyd. Leonard Floyd has to rush, dumps it right off to Luke Stocker, and that was almost the same exact play in the 1st quarter that Jay Cutler threw the interception trying to get it to Paulson.
1st and 10 on the 50. Martin trying to make something out of nothing, and there's nothing going.
They're trying to get it to the outside, but Willie Young, again, stout at the point of attack. One-on-one against Luke Stocker, forces everything from the outside in.
Eddie Goldman, Danny Trevathan, also in on that tackle. Big Eddie Goldman, man, they were glad to have him back. This is a guy who really pushes the pocket and can do some damage.
He is a massive human being. He's actually 20 pounds lighter, but he is one of those young players on this roster in his 2nd season that was a huge impact last year, but the injuries really plagued him, missing 6.
You know, nice play there by Jameis. Looked like he was a little surprised by the snap. Still gets it off for a completion of Mike Evans and an 8-yard gain.
Well, that's what happens when you have a backup center who's playing in his first game. He wasn't ready for that one because it was actually snapped early. But Jameis Winston, being the veteran, being able to get it and get rid of it quickly.
You know, we haven't talked a lot about that. Ben Gottschalk just called up from the practice squad, didn't expect to play today, but when Evan Smith goes down, he's thrust into action.
Yes, and then you talk about the left guard position where Kevin Pamfield was supposed to be the starter, but he's out with the concussion, so then they had to put a rookie in his first start, Caleb Benenoch.
Touch pass to Cameron Brate. He hauls it in. Flag on the play.
Prior to the pass, holding, number 29, defense. Penalties declined. Play results in a first down.
Cameron Brate is coming up huge in this football game.
That was a 14-yard gain. Brate now with 7 catches for 84 yards. Jameis quick pass out to Humphries. Humphries eludes one tackle but not the other. That's Crevon LeBlanc hauling him down after a 3-yard gain. They found LeBlanc on waivers after the Patriots let him go prior to the season. They said it took him about 2 to 3 weeks to basically move into that slot corner role.
Well, they got a good look at him when they had the dual practices against each other before their preseason game.
Great point, David. That's one of the useful things about those joint practices. Fakes the handoff. Jameis pressured. Waits and tries to force it into Stocker off his hands, incomplete. And that's Leonard Floyd again, very active for the rookie out of Georgia this game.
He was the one that put on the pressure with the TE, and he is the one that is continuing to emerge. Like I said, when he puts on some more weight and goes into the weight room and gets some more strength, he's now starting to get a repertoire of pass rush moves, secondary ones after the first one initially is stopped. And he is going to be a force to be reckoned with in that NFC Central.
It's funny, we asked Pernell McPhee about Leonard Floyd. He said he's a bad boy.
That's one thing he knows how to do is rush the passer.
36. Winston, Humphries, first down.
Playing on the inside of this 2 wide receiver set, and trying to get the jam with Leonard Floyd really doesn't reroute him, but once again, you see the defensive backs of DeMontre Hurst and the rest of them giving a lot of cushion to these wide receivers and the tight ends of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Jameis does not throw the prettiest ball, but it's effective.
Gets the job done. That's all that matters.
Absolutely right. First and 10 on the 11. Tries to dump it off for James, can't hold on. And there's some laundry on the field.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 92, defense, half the distance to the goal. First down.
Costly penalty on Pernell McPhee.
Running by, ball's already out of his hands. Gives him the hit at the end. Officials always talk about protecting the quarterback. We see this, yet we don't see flags thrown when Cam Newton gets worse hits than this.
Yeah, that didn't look too bad.
Ready.
This time they get him. And guess who that is? Pernell McPhee making amends for that penalty.
But that started on the inside with the pressure right up the middle of the gut by Eddie Goldman. See him starting on the inside. He's the one who starts to get the pressure to flush Jameis Winston back right into where Pernell McPhee is in his rush lane.
2 guys who were hurt and who are now back for this Bears defense. One reason they were so excited coming into this game. We asked Pernell McPhee what he did during the bye week. He said, bye, I've been off forever.
Yeah.
I kept working. Here's Martin met in the backfield again. Rayvon LeBlanc, Akeem Hicks on the tackle. So in the last 2 plays, the Bucs have lost 18 yards.
And they now are getting the contributions out of Akeem Hicks, who had a 2-sack game up against the Minnesota Vikings on Monday Night Football. And he has been a legit interior pass rush threat. He's had 23 pressures this season on the quarterback.
Yeah, leads the defensive line in tackles and sacks this year. Third down. Jameis dumps it off to Martin. Martin trying to get inside the 10, and he does. 13-yard gain for Martin, and they're going to have to settle on a field goal.
Talked about at halftime being able to get that pressure on Jameis Winston and get the sacks. We're seeing the production out of that right now by the Bears defensive line.
At this point, up by 14. Any points are good points.
They most certainly are, considering the fact we've watched this Tampa Bay defense get scorched the last 2 weeks before this one.
Aguayo 7 of 12 coming into today. He's already made one 30-yarder, this one from 27. No problem for the second rounder from Florida State. 27-10 with 5:19 left in the third. Pernell McPhee getting pumped up.
Today's game is sponsored by Verizon. Join the Better Network because better matters.
27-10 here in Tampa. Bucs on top of the Bears, and this has been a really interesting game as Aguayo sets up to kick off because turnovers have absolutely told the story.
Yes, they have, and I don't think this is the outcome that any Chicago Bears fan have had, but this is the outcome that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers felt that they had in them, as long as they can create the turnovers like they did in the first half to gain the momentum and continue with it in the second half with Jameis Winston in this offense.
Kick to the back of the end zone. We are back right after this. 27-10 here in Tampa. Back in Tampa, here's a look at the numbers for the two quarterbacks. Jay Cutler has had a rough go of it so far. 3 turnovers, 2 of those interceptions. Jameis Winston has already thrown for 282 yards, still 5 minutes to go in the third.
You can see that they are continuing as an offense to press. We're going to see how they're going to use Doug Martin as well, though.
Cutler to a well-covered Cameron Meredith, and that's going to fall incomplete. Kyle Long back on the sideline. He did not want to miss this. He left the game early after his foot got rolled up on, and this is a big hit for that offensive line.
And you absolutely love the fact that even though he's injured, he's not sitting in the training room like most players do. He's out here supporting his guys, sitting on the sidelines, icing and helping out to the offensive line in any way he can.
Not a big surprise coming from that young man. Cutler swings it out to Eddie Royal, his first catch of the game. Going to be good for a first down. Flag on the play.
Holding, number 17, offense, 10-yard penalty, still second down.
They try to run a laser go screen to the left to the wide receiver, and Jeffrey as a lead blocker is one-on-one. See him get his hands right there, and they call it.
He's got a little piece of that jersey.
And the worst thing you can do is let go and throw your hands up because you look guilty immediately.
Yeah, you saw that one from the jump. 2nd and 20 now. Cutler dumps it off to Langford. Langford can't hold on. Game break time. Carissa Thompson, what's going on?
Thanks, Dan. Atlanta at Philly. Atlanta was down 9-13. Matt Ryan with this 76-yard pass to Taylor Gabriel, the longest play of the season. Matt Ryan leads the NFL now in touchdown passes. Atlanta up 15-13. Dan?
Thank you, Carissa. The Buccaneers coming in at 3-5. Atlanta atop the division, but certainly this is not done. We've seen what happened to the Falcons last year after a strong start.
Start fast, but it's all about finishing, and they did not do that last season whatsoever.
3rd and 20. Again, he dumps it off to Langford. This time Langford holds on. He's taken down after a gain of 2.
Backed up into your own end zone, 3rd and long. You know you're going to look for either a screen or a draw, something to dump down to not be risky and not give the defense any opportunities.
Adam Humphrey's going to be back to return. Brent Grimes on that tackle there. Pat O'Donnell kicks it away. Humphreys calls for the fair catch at the 40. This Tampa Bay defense stepping up so far, holding the Bears to just 10 points. The NFL all about the veterans. In honor of Veterans Day, for every point scored during the NFL's 32 Salute to Service games, the league will donate $1,000 to its military nonprofit partners, including the Pat Tillman Foundation, USO, and Wounded Warrior Project. To join the salute and learn more, visit NFL.com/salute.
Thank you to all that have served, who are currently serving, for everything you do to ensure our freedom.
Looked like something happened on the snap there. Jameis Winston fell on the ball as there's a flag on the play. I echo your comments.
Full start. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 1st down.
Thank you, Walt Coleman. We could not appreciate our veterans any more than we do. All that they do for each and every one of us. 1st and 15 now for the Bucs. So look at what they did in the 1st quarter, which was basically nothing. Since then, it's been like a rocket ship with Jameis Winston and company. Doug Martin spins his way for a 4-yard gain. Jarrell Freeman in there on the tackle. Been a quiet day for Doug Martin, but just the fact that he is out there.
Yes, just we haven't seen Peyton Barber, who filled in for him as the starter at that much today. Doug Martin is the workhorse, and you can continue to see, even though he hasn't had that big explosive play like you're used to, he has taken the pressure off of Jameis Winston and has allowed this passing game to open up.
2nd and 11 for Jameis. Somehow escapes the pressure, but eventually falls down about the 33. That's the big nose tackle, Eddie Goldman.
See Eddie Goldman in here getting that rush. Caleb Benenoch, the draft pick for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, starting his 1st game of his career because of the injury to Kevin Panfield. We talked. The production has to start up front for the Chicago Bears, and here we are continuing to see sacks based upon the mismatches up front.
Little hitch in his step there for Jameis as he faces 3rd and 17, and they decide to play it safe, handing it off to Mike James. That's not going to be nearly enough for the 1st down. Gets almost to the original line of scrimmage. (20 of 28, 282 yards, a couple of touchdown passes. And how about that? Completions to 9 different players. He's spreading the love around.
And that's something that Dirk Cutter talked about, is that, you know, having Jameis Winston, he is a coach's dream. He can go through his progressions. He can get it to each and every player. But Jameis does not sometimes know when to hold it and feels he can make plays that he knows that he shouldn't.
Eddie Royal fields it inside the 5, and he is taken down inside the 1. Josh Robinson with another huge special teams tackle.
Follow your blockers. You've got two in front. He tries getting it in the outside. There's nowhere to go.
Tries to use his speed to avoid Robinson, who just wrestles him down right at about the 1.5-yard line. So if the Bears are going to find the end zone here, they're going to need a 98-yard drive. Kadeem Carey, the running back, lined up deep in his own end zone. They give it to Carey. Carey gets maybe 2.
Just got out of there. You see the battle at the point of attack right up front, getting held up. He gets it out with that second effort in order to move it forward, give themselves a little bit more room.
Jameis seems to be doing just fine after getting up a little gimpy on that last play. We'll be watching him, of course, as Jay Cutler faces 2nd and 9. Cutler from his own end zone looking for Jeffrey. Jeffrey tries to adjust, but that was just underthrown.
Getting a little bit of pressure again. Jay Cutler. See the big bull rush by Golston. He knows he has to get rid of that one quickly.
Yeah, it was Mike Adams trying to handle him.
Who is filling in for Bobby Massey, who went out in the first half with an injury.
Bobby Massey, Kyle Long both left the game with injuries earlier. Cutler on 3rd and 9, feeling the pressure again from the backside. Did he get it off? That was Robert Ayers on the pressure. The Bucs defense, you can see, calling for a safety. It looked like Cutler was really close to getting it out of there as a forward pass. John Fox is crossing his fingers, as is Cutler at this point.
Robert Ayers is inside here as the 3 technique going up against Sitton. Jay Cutler doesn't have anywhere to go with the football, trying to scramble to make something with his feet, get it out of there.
The ruling on the field is a fumble out of the back of the end zone, which is a safety.
I don't even remember what the Tampa Bay defense has done the last 2 games, because today they've been spectacular.
And because it doesn't matter. They talked about coming into this game playing with no conscience, not able to do anything to the pass, but being able to fix and correct moving here into this game up against the Chicago Bears.
A perplexed look of disgust from Jay Cutler. Robert Ayers coming off a career year with 9.5 sacks last season. And check out that defense. Gave up over 1,000 yards their 2 games coming into this one. 4 takeaways, 4 sacks, and only 10 points allowed. They have been menaces to this Chicago defense. Kyle Long may be wishing he was in the locker room at this point.
No, Kyle Long wishes that he was out there fighting with his offensive line and with this offensive unit.
That's a big loss when he went down. That's a 3-time Pro Bowler at guard. Bobby Massey left the game. 2 backups on the offensive line for Chicago. But there are a couple of backups on the offensive line for the Bucs too.
Yeah, but the fact that Jameis Winston is still able to deliver the football, they've given up some sacks, but it has not been to the extent of what has happened with this Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense and what they've been able to do to the Chicago Bears.
(29-10) after the safety. The free kick fielded right around the 30-yard line by Humphries. Humphries taken down relatively quickly, so a 19-point ball game. And this has been all Buccaneers. The turnovers continue to kill the Chicago Bears. As it did early on, still happening now.
And they've put themselves in bad positions because now what are they on third down? They're 1 for 9 in this football game in third down because of the penalties, because of the negative and minus plays. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense has risen to the challenge from this football game and has not let what happened in the past affect them.
46 seconds to go here in the third quarter. 1st and 10 on the 38 for Winston. Just a couple there for Peyton Barber. Barber, of course, started last week. Had to step aside when Doug Martin came back. We had a short chat with him. Nice young man. We asked him what he thought he could be, and he said, I think it can eventually be a every down back. Jameis Winston getting everybody ready for the fourth quarter. Gotta like going into the fourth quarter when you're up 29-10, looking for your first home win of the season. That home kick cooking right now. Tastes pretty good in Tampa. Nothing worse than making the trip from Chicago to find yourself down 29-10 at the start of the fourth. And there are a slew of Bears fans who either made the trip or live down here in Tampa. They've been everywhere, David.
They sure have. And you've seen a lot of Cubs gear being worn by all these Chicago fans as well.
Yep. Now that the Cubs have won, the Bears are kind of next up. Look at all those Bears fans. Hey, at least the weather's good. Dowell Loggins told us when he got into his car before they flew down here, it was 37 degrees.
Big difference this 82-degree day in Tampa.
Winston to Evans on 2nd and 7, picks up the first down. Speaking of those Chicago titles, it's been a while, right? The Cubs finally get one after a 108-year drought. The Blackhawks won the Stanley Cup. Back in 05, the White Sox won the World Series. And, of course, there's those great Bulls teams, their last title in '98. The Bears now have the longest title drought in Chicago. They haven't won a championship since Super Bowl 20, that great '85 Bears team.
And you see right in here, you're hoping Bears fans were swinging that and hoping that the Bears would be flying the W flag as well.
Peyton Barber wrapped up at the line of scrimmage by Eddie Goldman. There's some more of those Bears fans wondering how everything went so wrong. They know how. I guess they're probably wondering why.
Why? I think that's the big question. Why?
But at least they can wear those Cubs hats and be happy and proud. What an amazing World Series that was. Jameis has that one tipped at the line, so he's going to be facing 3rd and 10. As Pernell McPhee has a message for the young quarterback. When you're down 19, probably a little tough to talk tough.
Now you just have to play tough. You've got to go out and finish this football game and continue to fight, scratch, and claw, and do everything you can to try to turn this one around. Still 13 minutes left in this football game.
Plenty of time. We've already seen some crazy plays here. Jameis swings it out to Humphries. Humphries Looks like he picks up the first down.
He gets the first down on that one. See on the outside, Adam Humphries giving cushion, comes back. Nice block by the offensive line. Caleb Beninock, get you some. He took out DeMontre Hurst in that one.
Then Gottschalk also doing a nice job of blocking there. Adam Humphries, an interesting story. In his second year out of Clemson, he went to a tryout camp. He wasn't even a free agent. They called after the draft. He actually came to a tryout camp, and indeed he does get him the first down. Humphries already has more catches this season than he did all of last season. John Fox trying to figure things out with just over 13 minutes to go in the game.
Ready. Blue ready. What's up?
Peyton Barber for one. Carissa Thompson with the game break from LA. Hey, Carissa.
Hey there, we got Atlanta at Philly. So Ryan Matthews with his 5-yard touchdown run, his second of the day. And speaking of second, they go for two. Again, Ryan Matthews on that one. The Eagles lead 21-15. And time permitting, we will get you guys to this game.
Hey, nickel.
And of course, the second half of our doubleheader today will be in Pittsburgh. It's the Cowboys and the Steelers. That's going to be a good one. Jameis smothered, scattered, smothered, and covered. Leonard Floyd and Willie Young.
Leonard Floyd on that one going outside, but that is Willie Young all the way. He's going up against one-on-one against Luke Stocker, and Luke Stocker has had a tough time all day in the run game and in the passing game blocking these defensive ends.
Nowhere to go for Jameis. He'll be facing 3rd and 12.
Willie Young's 7th sack on the season, which leads the Chicago Bears.
First team timeout, Tampa Bay.
All right, back with 3rd and 12 for Jameis and the Bucs after this.
Today's game is sponsored by Zales. Celebrate your lasting love with gifts from Zales, the Diamond Store. And by Pfizer, Prevnar 13.
Who is that?
Derek Brooks.
Derek Brooks. That was the hardest I've ever been hit in my life. My rookie year here in 2003, Monday Night Football, trying to push a pile of Tiki Barber and in a scrum, and Derek Brooks hit me and knocked down 7 people along with it.
That is the guy you think about when you think Tampa 2. 3rd and 12 for Jameis. Almost intercepted. Could be pass interference here, as Cameron Brate went to the ground before the ball got there.
Runner to the pass, illegal contact, number 50, defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Well, there's a good look at it. Automatic first down. Big play for this Bucs offense is Jameis Winston, now over 300 passing yards today. We have not seen Doug Martin in a while. There's a look at Jarrell Freeman.
I'm sure they came into this one thinking he would be on a pitch count, seeing how this football game went. They're up 29-10. Why risk it?
That's Peyton Barber moving the pile. Barber, of course, the rookie out of Auburn, got his first start last week against the Falcons.
Chippiness going out on the football field right now.
Understandable. Bears a little frustrated. They certainly had high expectations coming into this defense, especially defensively. Started with Brayton, Leonard Floyd, then Stocker getting involved, and Blanc.
Blue ready. What's up?
Barber very close to the first down before he's taken down by Goldman and LeBlanc. I think that's a smart decision, Deal. There's no sense in leaving Doug Martin in there. The guy he actually hasn't practiced fully in 8 weeks.
There's no need to risk it. You're up 29-10. We've seen that you've had Peyton Barber as a starter. Let him get his reps and continue to improve as a football player.
And here's Barber again. And Barber told us earlier in the week that he thought he could be an every down back. Look, he ran for over 1,000 yards in the SEC.
And he's a guy that coming into this football game averaged 4.5 yards a carry, and now this is his opportunity to continue to grow as a football player. And like I said, this is what will help build your confidence as a running back, getting into this football game, and more than anything, closing this football game for them as an offense.
And nothing's more frustrating for a defense than just giving up 4-yard runs, 5-yard runs, 6-yard runs, especially when you're down like this.
And when you're seeing it, usually this is what's considered done in the 4-minute drill.
Tampa Bay.
Timeout Tampa, 29-10 with under 10 minutes to go here.
We are definitely excited to watch this matchup. America's game of the week is rookie sensation Dak Prescott leads the Cowboys against Big Ben and the Steelers. Can't wait to watch this one tonight.
A lot of people comparing those two quarterbacks, Dak Prescott and Ben Roethlisberger, because of the success that Big Ben had his rookie year. Certainly Dak has taken the NFL by storm. The Cowboys right now, the top team in the NFC. No gain there as Jarrell Freeman takes Peyton Barber down. Whistles being blown all over the place.
We saw a picture of Ezekiel Elliott, who's second rushing rookie right now at running back. That would be Jordan Howard.
Jordan Howard, they're almost identical when you look at the numbers. Big Ben coming from a smaller school, Dak Prescott coming from an SEC school, but the expectation's certainly not the same. Mike Evans hauls in the pass inside the 10-yard line for the Bucs. Mike Evans, another one of those security blankets for Jameis this year. That's good for 12. It's going to be first down on the 8-yard line.
Ready. Ready.
Peyton Barber down to 5 before he's dragged down by Jarrell Freeman. That's a 3-yard gain for the Rook. And they're just going to keep feeding him the rock, I think, David.
Why wouldn't they? Like we were talking before, they started their 4-minute drill at 9 minutes in this football game, and they're doing it in a successful manner. The one thing I will say, outside of giving up the sacks, I'm impressed at the way that this offensive line has played in the running game for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Look at the time on this drive. Eating up over 8 minutes of clock. Game is back to pass outside of the back of the end zone. Just throwing that one away.
What I was saying about the offensive line, it wasn't pretty. They've given up sacks and hits, but to have 2 players come in, one coming right from the practice squad, and then a starter at left guard, a rookie coming in starting his first game, to be up 29-10, it's impressive that they've been able to still do what they want to do offensively, and it gives onus to these guys and Dirk Cutter that they have confidence in it.
Ben Gottschalk thrust into action at center. Caleb Benenoch at guard. Not only the first start for Caleb Benenoch, the rookie from UCLA, but his first NFL action. He's never played an NFL game. He's been inactive for every game prior to today.
Talk about getting thrown into the fire.
So Doug Martin not in the game for the last couple of series. So the Bucs leaning on Peyton Barber, who got the start last week, and all he's doing is churning out yards.
And he came into this football game fresh, ready to go and run, and he's doing it now up against the Bears defense that has been out on the football field a lot today.
Nothing sexy from Peyton Barber today. Longest carries just 7 yards, but 9 carries for 30 yards in the game. On this drive, he's had a couple of 6-7 yard runs, just keeps cranking.
But this is no surprise considering the fact that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have had the ball 33 minutes during this football game to the Bears 18.
Yeah, 8+ minutes on this drive alone. 14 plays as they face 3rd and goal. Winston to the end zone, broken up, flag on the play. He was trying to hit Brate, but it looks like this could be pass interferences. Willie Young has a conversation with the tight end from Harvard.
Talk about a running back taking on a blitz.
Pass interference, number 29, defense. Foul occurred in the end zone. Will place the ball at the 1 yard line. First down.
Look at Peyton Barber take on Jarrell Freeman.
That's Jones Corte. Just kind of wrapping his arm around him a little too much there. Jones Corte, of course, to bear with the interception earlier in the game. Now that penalty puts him on the 1 yard line. And they're going to get at least 3 chances to try and punch this in, if not more. And look who's back in the game. Doug Martin wrapped up in the backfield.
Jarrell Freeman read that the entire time. Right downhill, tackle for a loss.
So that moves him back from the 1 yard line to about the 4. What are you thinking when you see a Bear player wearing that number 50 jersey?
I'm thinking of eyes is what I'm thinking of. Mike Singletary is what you think of when you see 50.
You are so right. And you just knew that he was going to do some damage as Doug Martin gets back to the original line of scrimmage. Those eyes get pretty big too there on Jarrell Freeman.
You love the sound bites. I like this type of party. You remember Mike Singletary all the time. What an unbelievable player.
One of the best. Had the opportunity to have him in studio one time. Check this drive out. 14-play drive that has chewed up 9 minutes and 35 seconds of clock. The give to Martin, puts his head down, and he's into the end zone for his first touchdown in forever. Do they put him in their deal just to give him a chance to find the end zone?
I would think so. Get him in there, get him his touchdown, get him his confidence. He earned it.
Look at the smile on that face. Is he glad to be back or what?
And look who's the lead blocker at fullback. Gerald McCoy.
There he is. Looks how anxious he is to hit somebody. Gets out there on the edge on Sam Acho. Guayo's kick up and through, 36-10. Gerald McCoy, defensive tackle and fullback. Doug Martin back and scoring his first touchdown in a long time.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Citizen Echo Drive watches, powered by Light.
nothing more deflating for a team that's down than a scoring drive that lasts almost 10 minutes. Gerald McCoy, a fullback, on Doug Martin's touchdown run. Jameis Winston saying that's the way you have to do it. What a drive for the Bucs as they go up 36-10. 5:55 left in the first quarter. Deontay Thompson back to receive. He'll take a knee in the end zone. Good times for the Buccaneers. 36-10.
What do you think about the tradition of these two teams? Dick Butkus, my fellow Illini, Gale Sayers, Sweetness, Walter Payton, Derek Brooks in that Tampa 2 defense, and John Lynch, our Fox partner here.
And Jameis all smiles.
Rightfully so.
Finally get a win at home as he throws for 312 yards. 5:55 left in the fourth. Jake Cutler and Jordan Howard just trying to put something together. 9 yards for Howard.
And he's coming up limping, which is not a good thing.
Howard's going to be pretty close to 100 yards as he exits the game. 2nd and 1. Carey trying to find the edge, and he's not going anywhere. 3 Bucs were there. Robert Ayers was one of them. You know, we talked about Derek Brooks and saw Derek Brooks earlier. On the radio this week, he called out the Bucs defense and said they weren't bringing the effort. By the look of these numbers, I don't think Derek Brooks is going to be saying that today.
No, he will not, considering the fact they give up 1,000 yards plus in the last 2 games before this one. And they've shown fight the entire game.
Incomplete on 3rd down. Out comes the Bears punting unit.
Have to give credit to the defensive coordinator of the Buccaneers, Mike Smith, as well, for the game plan that he dialed up today for their Buccaneers defense. Coming away with key takeaways, intercepting Jay Cutler and really maximizing the effort of his bunch.
Adam Humphries calls for the fair catch on the O'Donnell punt. And the Bucs will have the ball on the 15. The most outspoken duo in sports talk is on FS1.
Tomorrow, we debate all of today's NFL action.
I'm telling you, Skip, Tony Romo is coming.
Please, no. Undisputed, America's fastest-growing sports show, 9:30 Eastern, FS1.
You know what's undisputed here? The way this Bucs defense has played. They answered the call and then some. Absolutely dominant, helping the Bucs, who are now 4 minutes and 31 seconds away from their first home win of the season.
And have held the Chicago Bears, who were 7-14 against the Vikings, to 1-10 on 3rd down today.
As you can see, Mike Glennon is in the game for the Bucs. Mike Smith, the new defensive coordinator this year, of course, the former head coach with the Falcons. And a lot of people were saying, well, the problem last year was the defense. We got rid of Lovie Smith. We bought the other Smith, Mike Smith, in here to help fix this defense. And the defense, statistically, was playing worse than they were last year.
They were. That was a group that finished as a total in the top 12 defense. Coming into this one, they were ranked 29th in the NFL.
The Bears defense has Eddie Goldman on one knee right now. He is just coming back from an injury, missed 6 games with a sprained ankle. Back in Tampa in a moment. Shot of the Bears sideline there. Eddie Goldman, his first game back after missing 6. The talented nose tackle for the Bears Looked like he got his leg rolled up on here on the last play, David.
See him right here, the point of attack, fighting off a block, or almost looks like when Brzezinski came in to make the tackle, that left leg is what got hit, and he's holding that left knee. Still grabbing it right now, and see a trainer attending to him as well.
Eddie Goldman, one of the better players on this defense. There's a look at Jameis Winston, whose day is done. He's thrown for over 300 yards, 312 to be exact. Couple of touchdown passes. Just that one lone interception. Jameis, a coach's dream, according to Dirk Cutter, and one of the best smiles in the business. Mike Glennon in the game now, of course, is a rookie. Pre-Jameis, he played pretty well. Hands it off on second, 7-0 going. Let's get a game break now with Carissa Thompson from LA.
Thanks, Dan. A heartbreaker if you're a Saints fan after Brandon Cooks' touchdown. The game was tied up, but a blocked extra point. Will Parks recovers, returns it. This one's worth 2, so Denver wins this game 25-23. Dan, David, and Holly.
A road win for the Broncos in New Orleans. Never an easy place to play.
That is one stadium that I have never won in my entire career. Playing 11 seasons, played in every stadium in the NFL. 0-4 in the Superdome.
That place gets loud. Barber close to the first down, but not quite there. So the punt unit comes on for the Buccaneers. What's up next for the Bucs, you ask? Well, here's a look. They head to Kansas City and then have Seattle, San Diego, New Orleans here, and then Dallas on the 18th. Certainly not an easy schedule. Those next 2 games especially. Especially
how tough it is to play in those 2 places, at Kansas City and Arrowhead, and then playing at San Diego West trip. But that Seattle game, I think, is one that people are excited to watch, see the matchup of Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston.
2 talented young quarterbacks. Just looking around that happy Tampa sideline. Anger's punt. Fielded by Eddie Royal. Eludes 1 tackle but can't get away from the next one. Remember this? Super Bowl 30? Cowboys started the season 7-1, just like they have this season. Are they as good as those 95 Cowboys? Are they potentially Super Bowl bound? Troy Aikman, Jay Novacek, Neil O'Donnell picked off by Larry Brown, who was the MVP of this game. The Cowboys win their 5th Super Bowl championship, 27-17. That leads us to what is coming up next. America's game of the week, the Cowboys and the Steelers. That's going to be a good one. These guys have been going back and forth forever. The only 2 teams who have met 3 times in the Super Bowl.
Unbelievable history and tradition for both of those football teams, and we're going to see it displayed tonight in a primetime game that every one of us are looking forward to watching.
Steelers trying to bounce back. Big Ben didn't look like his normal self last week. I can't imagine it's going to be that way again. Just over 2 minutes here in Tampa. 36-10 is the score. Such high hopes for the Bears, who are coming off a bye week, and that great much needed win over the Vikings. Jay Cutler coming back from an injury, and a lot of controversy there in Chicago because Brian Hoyer, with all those 300-yard games, had played so well. They thought that Cutler dumps it off to Langford. As the clock is winding down. So this is a big second half of the season for Jay Cutler because they have to make a decision.
Yes.
Do they keep him around? He has a $126 million contract, but all the guaranteed money has already been paid. And the next couple of years, Cutler is actually a relative bargain compared to other starting quarterbacks around the National Football League. Flags coming in all over the place. And it looked like they had things on the right direction. Now what?
That's the next question. Now what? Big discussion here by the officials.
After the play is over, personal foul, number 62, offense. The play resulted in a first down. It'll be 15 yards and then 1st and 10.
That's Ted Larson. Bears can just call it a day. You can see the disgust on their faces. Expected more out of today.
Today's game is sponsored by Burger King. Now get 3 large pancakes for only 89 cents, only at Burger King.
Welcome back to Tampa, where it is 36-10. This has been all Buccaneers. Jay Cutler in his second game back from that thumb injury did not have the day that he expected. 3 turnovers, 2 of them interceptions. That, the lone bright spot, a Hail Mary at the end of the first half. And he's been feeling the heat, David, from this Tampa Bay defense all day long.
Yes, he has. And it started off once those takeaways took place for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. You could see their confidence grow more and more throughout this football game.
It's kind of an awkward slide there for Cutler as he gets down before Glanton can get to him after he picks up 7. Smart decision to get down. The last thing you want to do in 2 minutes of a blowout loss is get hurt, especially if you're the starting quarterback. Cutler on 2nd and 3. They pick up the first down. That's Zach Miller. We talked about the Buccaneers' upcoming schedule. What's next for John Fox and company? They have the Giants next, David, and then they have Tennessee. Tennessee on their way to a huge win over the Packers, so that schedule's not very easy either.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 75, defense. 15-yard penalty, first down.
Chicago Bears and the Bears fans will get a good look at the New York Giants, who play tomorrow night on Monday Night Football up against the Cincinnati Bengals. And you're right, big win today for the Tennessee Titans.
Green Bay, a lot of question marks suddenly there right now. We thought that getting Jordy Nelson back would get Aaron Rodgers and company back on track, but there have been a lot of ebbs and flows at Lambeau Field this year. Cutler, Langford taken down quickly. Alteron Werner on the tackle. And this is what's coming up next. It's the Cowboys taking on the Steelers. 7-1 against 4-4. Joe Buck and Troy Aikman on the call. Aaron Andrews will be there as well. And this is a game that seems like it has the Cowboys written all over it because they're playing so well, and Pittsburgh didn't play well, but
people would say the same thing about this game.
That's a great point. That's a great point. We talked about it beforehand that never seen a 2-6 team that felt so confident coming in, and I'm sure the Cowboys are riding high, but do not sleep on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ben Roethlisberger doesn't have bad games back-to-back.
And when you have a wide receiver like Antonio Brown, anything can happen.
Yeah, of course, one of the best running backs in football. Le'Veon Bell. Cutler again, the short pass to Zach Miller. Miller picks up the first down, and the clock is winding down. A gain of 12, 27 seconds left in this game. Timeout, Bears. remiss if we did not congratulate Sam Rosen, inducted into the NHL Hall of Fame.
What an honor and what an unbelievable man. Sam Rosen, congratulations, well deserved and earned.
He's getting the Foster Hewitt Award. Sam Rosen, one of the great members of our team, and
yes, he is.
A true hockey play-by-play guy. He's been calling games for years.
He has, and everybody knows that voice the minute that you hear it, and he has been with the Fox network for 20 years.
With Fox calling hockey, a very versatile Sam Rosen. He is missed, as always. Jay Cutler not missing Jeffrey inside the 10-yard line. They might be able to squeeze a touchdown out of this drive. But there's a flag down.
Holding, number 71, offense. 10-yard penalty, still first down.
It's been that type of day for the Chicago Bears.
Nothing going right at all. That, of course, three-time Pro Bowler Josh Sitton. And for the most part, pretty quiet day for Jeffrey. This is tough because this was a tipping point game for John Fox. I felt like this was a game that if they won, they could get back on track. The next few defenses they were playing, maybe middle of the pack.
And now that they lost, now you're thinking about the future. Jay Cutler, Alshon Jeffrey in the draft.
You're 100% right. And that's going to be the topic of discussion on Chicago Sports Talk Radio all week long. The Bucs, Dirk Cutter, they get a win at home for the first time in 7 games. And they do it with relative ease over the Bears. 6 seconds left before this goes in the books. A familiar look on Jay Cutler's face as they try to figure out why this went down the way it did. Keeps Spence. Winston. Glennon. One final play for the Bears. Eddie Royal out of bounds. And that is it. 36-10 is the final. Jameis Winston, Jay Cutler shaking hands for David Deal and Holly Saunders. I'm Dan Helly. Stay tuned. It's the Cowboys and the Steelers, America's game of the week, coming up.